people want to know like what kind of return ratio they could get, right? So I guess commercial is different as the residential one.
Yes.
So how do they calculate the return ratio?
Usually in Toronto, what I find nowadays, if you can get a return on your investment of hopefully around 5% per year, that's very good, because at the same time, the property will probably go up a minimum of 20% per year.
You're now watching Canadian Mandarin Economics Television.
加国地产发展趋势，近期楼市最新动态，地产行业权威发布，众多专家分析点评，尽在置业加国。观众朋友，大家好，欢迎收看本期的置业加国。根据最新一份加拿大商业地产报告，中国是继美国后第二大投资加拿大房产的国家，而在这其中呢，商业地产又需要较为复杂的知识与技术分析。投资者比较关心的是成交价格以及投资回报率。那么今天节目呢，我们就请来了在业界有着40年经验的 Helene 来跟我们聊一聊商业地产的话题。
Helene, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Jackie, for inviting me. It's a real honor.
Before we getting into today's business, let's ask Helene what she does and what her specialty is.
I'm actually a real estate agent for 40 years in Toronto with Remax Realtron.
So 40 years.
Yeah.
Big commitment. Up until today, we always talk about residential investment or self-use. And believe it or not, you're actually the first guest we have to bring up this commercial property investment topic. And we understand that buying a residential property is quite different as buying a commercial property, right?
Yes.
So first question we want to ask you is how many kinds of commercial properties that could be invested?
Okay. Well, with the commercial property, you have choices. You can either buy a building on a main street where you have a retail store on the main floor, and then you will either have 1 or 2 apartments on top. Otherwise, there are buildings where you have, let's say, residential rentals. So you have 3 units, 3 apartments or more. And then last but not least is just a strictly commercial building where you have, let's say, business tenants, and you might have 10 or 12 different types of businesses on the go. They're all very good opportunities.
Well, the real estate market in GTA is still flourishing, and people are willing to invest more money into the market than ever, right?
Yes.
But the residential market is quite competitive, and the bidding war is become more and more dramatic.
Yes.
So a lot of people are thinking maybe they should change their direction to the commercial property. So for those people who haven't been investing in the commercial property before, what kind of questions they need to ask themselves before they get into the business?
Right. Well, I think the first thing a person needs to decide on is how much money they wish to invest in a commercial building. And actually, they're still very underpriced, the commercial properties. They haven't had the same exposure as the residential.
That's right.
So there's very good opportunities. Recently, I had some clients that bought their first commercial property. So it was retail on the main floor and 2 apartments on top. And the reason they were able to purchase it with a down payment and then the tenant's rent covers the mortgage. So it's a very good investment. And they are so excited that they're actually thinking about purchasing another property almost immediately. So it's a very good decision for someone to make.
For some people, they're afraid like commercial property, maybe you have to put more effort or time, like big commitment to this investment. Is that true?
I really don't think that is a problem. And I'll tell you why. Most of the rents that you collect are actually greater in a commercial property. So you usually get very good commitments and guarantees from the people that rent in a commercial space. So I don't think that should be a problem.
That's a great relief. People want to know like what kind of return ratio they could get, right? So I guess commercial is different as the residential one.
Yes.
So how do they calculate the return ratio?
Usually in Toronto, what I find nowadays, if you can get a return on your investment of hopefully around 5% per year, that's very good, because at the same time, the property will probably go up a minimum of 20% per year. So you're going to be covered with everything.
Really
yes, absolutely.
Then we have to ask you how to choose a good commercial property investment. Like, how do you see this is a good one? Like, is there any like standard rules or key points that the investor should keep in mind?
That's a very good question, Jackie. I think the main thing is nowadays, well, even in the old days, it was always about location, location, location. So I think the best thing is when you're looking for a commercial property, you have to really figure out what the income will be. I know it will be an estimate, but usually it's an educated estimate. And once you know what you can rent a place for, I think you can make a very good decision. And the best advice I say is always to trust your real estate agent, and if you have confidence in them, I think you'll be very well off.
They will be in good hands.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, very good.
Last but not least, we want to ask your opinion on the foreign buyer's tax that may be introduced in Ontario. We understand that this option is still on the table and hasn't been finalized yet, but we're just curious, which side are you on? Do you pro this tax or do you disagree with this tax?
Jackie, I think that is the worst thing in the world, and most real estate agents will agree with me. It doesn't make any sense to do that because the reality is we need foreign investment. We need it in our country. We need it in our city. I'm hoping that it will not come about like it did in British Columbia. I know that most real estate agents, like myself, have signed petitions against that. So I disagree with that completely.
Then we will see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Helen, for coming today.
You're welcome.
好的，
Thank
非常
you.
感谢您收看本期的职业家国，我们下期节目再见。